Well, today we are going to be fixing a car that I have actually never ran. So I built this car for a guy named Guy. He came up from Pennsylvania and he run my show here in Caledon, and he did pretty good. He ended up getting a broken tie rod and kind of got himself wedged into another car, and unfortunately he missed the 60 count, so he got counted out. But I've never ran it. I built it here for you guys. It's our 2014 Honda Accord with the Earth Power motor. So we went on Amazon, we bought the correct tie rods for it, and we're gonna be installing them. But here's the catch. I'm still not gonna be running this car. I had a gentleman reach out to me and he says he needs a car for this Saturday, and today is Thursday. It wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't working midnights and I'd have time to actually pull it into the shop, but I don't have the time. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fix this right here, right now, and then we're gonna go over it, make sure it still starts, make sure it still runs, and then that way, he says he'll pick up Saturday morning for the demolition derby. Let's see what we're working with. So right here, we have our Army of One Honda Accord. So I already kind of threaded the tie rod in there just to make sure it works, but we're gonna have to move this subframe. We're gonna have to charge up the battery maybe. We're gonna have to move some stuff here in front of it to get it out. I think this thing still runs. It still has a key in it, so that's kind of nice. But this thing here is actually in some pretty good shape. I'm overall impressed with how good this thing went for a complete stock class. So I think first things first, we have to turn the wheel all the way to driver, so then that way I can work on this tie rod. I have a habit of trying to put these cars in here so tight, because then I can fit an extra car. The only disadvantage to that is it's hard to work on them when they're in here this tight. So we're just gonna turn the wheel so I can actually get at that tie rod. There we go. And then we're just gonna use vice grips and we're gonna tighten the tie rod in there. Should be a pretty easy job. Let's get doing this. So these tie rods here, we didn't really buy anything crazy. This is a 2014, so we ordered 2014 Honda Accord tie rods off of Amazon, but then when they got here, they said, oh, if it's a 2014 turbo, these are the tie rods. If it's a 2014 non-turbo, you need the 2012 tie rods. So then, because this is a non-turbo, we went back down to 2012, and we bought the 2012 ones. Okay, now we're just gonna hook these things on there, and we're gonna tighten the tie rod in until we get it pretty much set. And then we're gonna lock it in. This is we have a new class here in Ontario that's kind of been taken over the last 2 years, and some of you guys might be used to it as called street stock. Here in Ontario, it's actually called the windshield class. And it's pretty much, you know what, I think I'm gonna have to undo this nut. I'm gonna be right back. It's gonna be so much easier if I just undo this nut. It'd be really nice to put a different tie rod system in this thing, but unfortunately, this is stock class, and you can't do anything like that in stock class, which kind of sucks, but hey, you gotta follow the rules. So let's straighten out the driver's side tire, and then we will straighten out this side and set them up. So with the driver's side tire now straight, we can set this one up to be straight. These tie rods are, I think they actually need to be longer, to be honest. There ain't a whole lot on them. The Honda engineers, they know best, right? I think it has to come from the bottom side. I think this Honda suspension is not a great setup. But what Oh my goodness, it's like barely on there. Not a great setup, it's really not. I don't know if these are the right tie rods, but Amazon says that they're the right ones. Goddamn Jeff Bezos trying to screw me. Well, let's try a couple more things here, and then we'll get back at this. So we're getting this thing to work, but moral of the story is, I don't think Amazon is the best place to buy your repair parts. So because this strut's bent, we're going to cut off this sway bar link. That way we can actually turn without the strut hitting the chassis. So, there's a piece of metal jammed in my damn hand that's been causing me problems here for about 10 minutes. Just being a little baby is all I'm doing. So what we're going to do is get a pair of vice grips, which I don't know where all the vice grips are gone. I'm probably sitting on them. Yes, I was sitting on them. I'm going to tighten this thing down. And then we're going to just get out the Sawzall and start cutting. Gonna cut like a 16-year-old kid that got his first car and wants the catalytic cut off. So that's aggressively. So if we're cutting off this side sway bar, I think we have to cut off the other side as well. So you don't really want to cut through anything that's important. So as you've seen, you see me checking halfway through to make sure I wasn't cutting a brake line or anything. But I didn't, so that's kind of nice. All right. So there's the old broken tie rod. That's now part of my lawn, so don't worry about that. So I'm just gonna throw this dirt bike tire on there. She may not be a race car now because the sway bars are cut out of it, but I still think she's going to be a good half-decent derby car. So the next step, I guess, is to move some stuff with the Walden, get this old girl pulled out, and then see if we can get it to run. I hate these tuner nuts. I hate these tuner nuts. All you guys that buy these tuner nuts and say, oh, I need the tuner nuts to clear my rims, they actually make like 9/16 tuner nuts. Sorry, 3/4 tuner nuts. That you don't need this stupid tool. Because I've replaced a whole bunch of Ford ones, I've replaced a whole bunch of my Dodge ones, I've replaced a whole bunch of these stupid tuner nuts with the ones that you don't need the damn tool for. But we're going to throw that in there just in case these tires have to be changed again. These are, if you guys are questioning what these tires are, let's get a little closer. These are my 16-inch Amazon dirt bike tires. How do I like them? I love them. These are 90/116s. You can actually put a donut inside of here. It's a lot of work. You're going to rip all the treads off before this tire goes flat. And I got the marks to prove it right down here. Ouch. But let's clean this subframe up and then we're going to go start the Walden and see if we can get this thing out of here. Just have to get it off these blocks, move some vehicles, you know, fun Walden activities. So after a little bit of moving vehicles around, we got this thing out. One thing I realized, I forgot to move that chunk of wood, so the extraction of the vehicle was not exactly easy. But we got it out. Some other things I have now realized, we need to adjust the driver's side tie rod to make it so that the tires face straight. You know, for Demolition Derby and me, I would run it like this, but it's for somebody else. So we have to make sure that this thing is up to the snuff that is required to go into the derbies. And then we're going to put a booster pack on this thing. We're going to make sure she still starts and runs and drives. And then that's pretty much this thing. So I guess we can try the booster pack right now and see if it runs. Let me get some stuff to try to start this. I just went to start this Honda Accord and I found an issue. I guess the guy melted off the positive. So we're just going to cut this back, put a new end on it, and then put everything back together over here. And then see if that will get this thing to fire up now. So we are having one heck of a time right here trying to get this thing going. So it started off with being the AC pulley down there was seized. So I got that unseized. And then the alternator spun freely, but when you put power to it, the alternator doesn't spin. So it's been kind of going a little crazy down here right now. So let's see if we can get this thing to fire up. I just had to put the pipe wrench. There we go. Everything's spinning now. Give it a little bit more extra lubrication down there. Lube makes everything nicer. There we go. Okay. So, it runs. Last thing to do is just fix the driver's side tie rod as far as I'm concerned. And then she's good to go. So we fixed the tie rod, we fixed the battery terminal, we fixed the alternator, we fixed the power steering. It's not charging. Okay, let's just go give this alternator some love. Love! Alright, I loved it. Still not charging. Okay, so this thing will need a very nicely charged battery inside the derby ring. But the alternator may not be working, but the water pump is, and that's all that really matters to me. Maybe the alternator fuse is blown? I doubt it. Most of these fuses have been jumped. So I don't think the alternator fuse is blowing. What does this one over here say? Fuse box main. Nope, I think that the alternator is good. You can hear that little direct injection pump just knocking away, giving her as much fuel as she could ever need. Okay. Nice. So as far as I'm concerned, this thing is ready for the Demolition Derby. Be nice if that alternator was charging. But hey, the fact that it's got a water pump is better than nothing. So we still have to do a little bit more work to this thing, but it's pretty much all done. But hopefully Brandon Canzacoli is going to enjoy this ride. I can say his name because it's going to be derbied by the time it goes. But he's going to have to take my buddy with him. And what do I mean by that? This guy's still on there. He's going to go in for his third derby on this thing. So thanks for watching, guys. and we'll see you back here later on Zach's workshop.